Hey guys, today I'm going to give you a little tour of some basic automations that you might want to use with inside the CRM system. So we are going to get right into it. So let me share my screen. Here we are on the dashboard. We're just in a dummy account here. So let's go down to the automations tab. And inside the automation tab is where we're going to create all of our workflows. Now you can create folders to help you keep things organized. Let's do missed call text back automation, right? So I've got a folder here just so you guys can see how it works. We're going to create a new workflow. We're going to start from scratch just so you can get a feel for everything here. I'll come up at the top. We're just going to give it a name. Missed call text back. Right. So then the very first thing that we want to do is we need to add a workflow trigger. This is going to be what's going to set off the workflow, what makes it actually function and do what it needs to do. So let's grab the trigger, and we're going to trigger this off of a contact reply. You can see there's all kinds of options here. You can set a birthday reminder, if the contact changed, if it went do not disturb, add tags, tasks, reminders, different types of events and hooks and all kinds of different fun things that can happen here. That was the one we wanted right there. Can't type today. Customer replied, right? So now we've got a customer replied, but we have the option to set some filters. And there's a few different types of filters that we can set. You can set different phrases, different tags that might be contained within in the word. But type of intent, whether it's positive or negative, or if it came from a certain workflow. In this case, we want to do it from a channel, and this is going to be a call. And then that opens up some more filters here. So we can do call from a specific phone number. You would select your phone number here if it were there. You could also select intent type, if it was positive or negative. You asked a question, you can have it respond based on that. But we'll say we're going to respond to a call, and this would typically be an incoming call, which we can't set up at the moment. And then we want to make sure that allow reentry is turned on. This means that it can come back to the workflow even if it's done it before. So if you have a call from a specific number and they call in, it'll reply every time, right? So the very first thing we're going to do is we don't want it to be spammy, so we're going to have it just wait a second. And we're going to set a time delay, right? You can just do a couple minutes. 2 minutes is probably a good frame of reference here. So we just say wait for 2 minutes, and then we're going to send an SMS back to them, right? And we can just say, and you want to be short with text messages, right? So we're going to just reply to them and be like, sorry, missed you. I was on the other line. What can I help you with? Right. So we're going to save that, and that alone, make sure that this is published and save, and that's going to kick off a conversation. So as soon as an incoming call happens on that line, it's going to wait and message back. Now there are a couple of things that are preset in these workflows, right? So you can do auto missed call text back. This one's a little bit more robust. I was just going through a quick sample, right? So this one, we have an incoming call. If the call is met with a busy, a voicemail, or a no answer, right? We want conditions on here. Otherwise, every incoming call will get a text back. So this additional filter on call direction, right? Let's just say we want it incoming. You could even do it down on a specific number. We could have it respond one way for one number, one way for another, and we would do that by just adding, a filter here. We not a number pool, say in phone number, boom, then select that one number. They would save it, and then that would only work with one specific number. So it's going to say slight delay. This says 0.2 minutes of the delay. It's going to assign them to a user. So if you have multiple users in your account, one person becomes responsible for it. And you can choose, I don't have any users in this location right now. And you can have it only apply to unassigned contacts. So if you have somebody who's already dealing with that person on a regular basis, you won't reassign them. They'll automatically go to the person that they're used to dealing with. We can assign a tag to them. We can say, hey, missed or inbound or something like that, so we can sort them really well later. And then this is going to just send a message back. It'd be like, hey, sorry we missed your call. How can we help? And then it signs off with the location name, so that would, usually be the name of your business. Going to tell somebody that missed a call from with the phone number. Please reach out before the lead gets cold. And then it's going to send also an internal SMS message in case you're not signed into the app. Really recommend being signed into the handset while you're working with your leads, though. But address the user. You missed a call from phone number and name if there is one. Please get back to them before the lead gets cold. So based on the caller ID information, when the phone number comes in, it'll automatically let them know, and it'll say, hey, this user or this contact that you have in the system is somebody that you missed a call from. So you can kind of decide what you want to do. You also have a few things that are already ready to go. Birthday template, every time somebody has a birthday, it'll fire off a message or whatever you want to have happen in a special automation. The appointment confirmation reminder plus review request. So it'll make sure that they get their appointment reminders. It'll send them a survey to get some information. Then it'll send out a review request so you can build up that reputation management. You can have, looks like you have an auto reply. So now the Fast 5 Lite and the Fast 5, these are super important for most places, right? The odds of closing a lead decrease dramatically after 5 minutes. That's absolutely a thing. This is specially designed to help get those leads to come back pretty quick. You can see this is a little bit more robust. Then we're going to look at some branching and conditional logic here real quick. But it'll create an opportunity so that you can put it in a pipeline. So you can manage that. If you're not sure what a pipeline is, you'll have to go check out my other videos on a pipeline. And it looks like my head's a little bit in the way, so I'm just going to do the other side of the screen. You're going to send them an email and a text message. It's going to wait for 2 minutes to see if somebody's replied. And then here's where conditional logic comes in. It's going to say if the contact replied is true, then we'll do what's down this path. If not, we'll do what's down this path. So if they didn't reply, call connect, right? It's going to automatically send that call. It says you have a new lead, and then press any key to connect, and it's going to reach out and call that person, as well as dropping a voicemail. Left example file that's a little dramatic for voicemail, maybe. But then, they have a delay. You wait a day, and then they can pop out into another automation or a workflow or somewhere else. But if they did reply, then it's going to look for positive intent, right? If it was positive, we're going to go down the blue side. If it was negative, we're going to go down the red side. And if it was positive, it's like, hey, we're going to send you a booking link, right? It sends a booking link, tries to get them to book in. Otherwise, it's going to negative reply. It's going to send that to you through a notification, so you get notified right away. If it's negative, you can deal with it however it needs to be done. If they don't want you to call anymore, they want a phone call, they need kind of a human to intervene and handle over. But Fast 5, definitely something that I highly recommend. Turn that on. It's almost an instant win, especially if you can't be next to your phone every moment of the day. Let's take a look at some other workflows that they have here. No-show nurture, so this will help you get people to rebook when they didn't show up for their appointments. Let's do something kind of interesting here. The workflow is very powerful when you start using branching and conditional logic. So we're just going to make one called conditional test. And then we're going to say, let me see, submitted form. I think it should have a form in here. There we go. So we're going to say if they submitted the business application. If we name this, it gives us the ability to, you see that it says business application up here, and then we can do a different form. And let's say we have two forms and we want some things to be done, but maybe we have an extra step that wants to be done in the other. So we're going to say email list. Right, so now we have business application email list, and we want to look at the if logic, and I'm going to show you intentionally that there's an extra step we have to do. So we want this thing called workflow trigger, but we don't have any triggers in here because we haven't saved yet. So we need to leave it in draft mode, save it. And now we can come in here and we can say if else, and we name the branch. We'll name this one business application. And we're going to say that if the workflow trigger is the business application, and then we're going to add another one. We're going to say email list, and we're going to say if the workflow trigger is the email list. Right? We'll save that. Now we see we have the if branching logic, right? But then now we have business application email list. We can name this condition up here, and I'd like to name it something that's easy to look at so it doesn't get confusing in the workflow. Like, right? What was the trigger? So let's say if we have a business application, we want it to do an extra step, but we also want to join the email list. So let's just say that adding a contact tag of email list gets them into the email list, right? So we'll create a new tag, and we're going to add it to the user, and that'll get them what we need to do in order to actually send out our email blasts. But when we do the business application, let's say we want it to create an opportunity also. So we'll create an opportunity. We don't have a pipeline to put it in, so usually you would give it the pipeline, the stage of the pipeline you want it in, give it a name. I usually like to use the custom values, where I would say the contact name and then, a reason. So it's easy to look at where it came from if you have it, how much it's worth, and then leave it in the status open. So generally we would have this piece right here. Well, let's just say we want to leave a note, right? Let's make this easy on us. We'll make a note, and we're going to leave a note with any notes you have for us as a custom field. We also have the ability, after we've executed that, to go to another place, right? So only when the business application comes in, we want to leave a note on the client account, and then we want to add them to the email list. So what's going to happen is the business application will come down, and it'll say, was this a business application? Nope. Was this a business application? Yes. So it's going to go down this one. If it doesn't meet either of those criteria, it goes down this one. It's like something went wrong, or you have like a normal process and then maybe two different deviations if something goes wrong in the process. But in this case, it's a business application, so it's going to leave a note, and then it's going to come up here, and then it's going to add a tag. If it's an email list, it's going to come through and it's just going to add a tag. It's going to ignore all of this. If it's nothing, it's just going to come here and it's going to do nothing. So this email could trigger it to end up down here. This business application could end up down here. And currently we can't hit that none. But let's say, you could do something like somebody ordered a product. And then you select a product that you have already set up in here. And then that product would now trigger, and it wouldn't be a business application or an email list. It doesn't fall in either of these categories, so it's going to fall at the bottom over here. But this can be used for a lot of different very complex and complicated things, as well as, heading off to another workflow. You can say, hey, if they want to add to the email list, you want to get a tag, and then maybe we have an email sequence that we want to stick it in, or we want to, say this is our email sequence. We just stick it in there and we save it. So now it's going to come down, and it's going to be the business application. It's going to leave a note, add the tag, and then it's going to hop into the workflow, and start sending through an email sequence. Maybe it's a 7-day sequence on the way up to something. But hope that gives you a little bit of overview on what happens with the workflows and kind of how to work with it and build it. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in comments down below, and I will do my best to address them.